Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today is my latest installment in my deep dive into the 2024 presidential election series. This video focuses on the all-important swing state of North Carolina. North Carolina has 16 electoral votes. This is going to be one of the closest states in the country, one of the most competitive states in the country, and it's shown 3 elections in a row now to be very, very competitive. In this video, I'm going to break down some polling data, election history, as well as some key counties I am watching for in the state. Starting with the voting history, in 2020, North Carolina was won by Donald Trump by 1.3%. In 2016, Donald Trump won the state of North Carolina by 3.7%. And in 2012, Mitt Romney, the Republican nominee, won North Carolina by 2%. Right now, in the current RCP polling average, Donald Trump currently has 48.4%, Kamala Harris has 47.9%, so certainly a very, very close state in the current polling data. On the national vote side of things, in 2020, Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.4%. In 2016, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2.1%. And in 2012, Barack Obama won the popular vote by 3.9%. An average across the last 3 elections of 3.5 percentage points. Right now, in the current head-to-head national polling average for 2024, Kamala Harris leads Donald Trump by just 0.9%. If it is 0.9% on election day, this would be the lowest lead for a Democrat across easily the last 3 elections, and definitely in the honestly in the 2000s. Kamala Harris being at 0.9 certainly gives a very strong advantage for Donald Trump's chances to win the Electoral College if it does end up being 0.9. But it is worth mentioning, we still have 2 weeks to go until the elections. We have to wait and see where things finish up. But if it is 0.9, that is certainly not a good sign for Harris's chances. Looking at how North Carolina votes compared to the national vote, in 2020, North Carolina voted 5.7% more Republican than the popular vote. In 2016, North Carolina voted 5.8% more Republican than the popular vote. And in 2012, North Carolina voted 5.9% more Republican than the popular vote. A very consistent trend. We've seen some states that are a little bit more sporadic with these numbers, but only a 0.1% difference across from 2012 to 2016 and 2016 to 2020. So if that's streak continues, then in 2024 it should be somewhere between 5.8 and 5.6, assuming that 0.1% stays strong. The average difference between 2012 and 2020 was Republican plus 5.8 of the national vote, and from 2016 to 2020, Republican plus 5.75 of difference of the popular vote, to get more specific. Looking at how North Carolina's polls error versus the vote percentage on election day differs, in 2020, the polls overestimated the Democrat Joe Biden by 1.1%. In 2016, the polls overestimated Hillary Clinton by 2.8%. And in 2012, Mitt Romney was overestimated by the polls in North Carolina by 1%. That means across from 2012 through 2020, North Carolina's polling average overestimated the Democratic support by 0.96%, meaning that the Democrats in the polls got 0.96% more than they actually got on election day, meaning that Democrat plus would benefit Trump in this scenario. The average popular vote difference between 2016 and 2020, however, was Democrat plus 1.95%, meaning that almost 2% of the vote in the polls is more than what the Democrats got in 2016 and 2020 across those 2 elections. Looking at some statewide forecasts for North Carolina, this is no surprise. Real Clear Politics, Sabado's Crystal Ball, 538, Decision Desk HQ, The Hill, Cook Political Report all have North Carolina as a toss-up state. Without a doubt, one of the closest states in the entire United States in the 2024 election, no doubt whatsoever. Looking at the current polling right now for these forecasters, on Real Clear Politics, Donald Trump currently has a lead of 0.5%. Nate Silver's Bulletin has it at 0.7% for Trump. 270 to win has Trump up 0.5. Decision Desk HQ and The Hill has Trump plus 1. And 538 has Trump plus 0.7. So every single political forecast and polling numbers have Trump leading. All of them have Trump leading by 1 point or less. So it is incredibly, incredibly close and is definitely a pure battleground state. Looking at the forecasting market, going over this briefly, Poly Market, Donald Trump has 64% in North Carolina. Kamala Harris has 36%. This would put North Carolina somewhere between being a lean Republican state and a likely Republican state. So that's where that has North Carolina. Nationally, Trump has 60.1%, Harris has 39.8% as of the time I'm recording this video. So that is an advantage in the forecasting market for Donald Trump. Now, some key counties I'm watching for in North Carolina. There are so many counties in North Carolina I wanted to go over, but if I did, this video would probably be like an hour long. So, in trying to shorten things down, I picked 10 counties here that I want to go over, and when it comes to the actual counties map itself, I'm going to name some of the other counties and just tell you what the votes were in 2020, just to give you an insight. So the first one I'm going with is Forsyth County. Forsyth in 2012 was won by Barack Obama by 7.2%. In 2016, it was won by Clinton by 10.4%, and in 2020, it was won by Biden by 13.9%. So Forsyth, this is where the towns of Winston-Salem is. This is an area that is getting a little bit more Democratic since 2012 up to 2020, and when you look at the amount of votes that came from this area in Forsyth, over 100,000 votes ended up going for Joe Biden in this county in 2020. Trump got about 85,000, so it's a very important county where a good number of population of people are living. Right next door to Forsyth is Guilford County, where it was 16.4 for Obama in 2012, 19.9 for Clinton in 2016, and 23.1 in 2020 for Biden, a jump of about 3% in 2016 and 2012, and then 4% almost, a little over 3% actually, from 16 to 20. This county is similarly very impossible. It is a Democratic expected county, as Forsyth is, but this had over 170,000 votes for Biden in 2020. Trump had over 107,000 votes in 2020. So just the size of these populations of these counties alone, it certainly makes it worth discussing. Now in Wake County, this is where the capital city of Raleigh is. So there's a lot of people in this county. In 2012, it was won by Barack Obama by 11.4%. 2016, Hillary Clinton won it by 20.2%. And in 2020, Joe Biden won it by 26.5%, a 6.3% jump from 2016 to 2020. And looking at Wake County, Joe Biden got over 390,000 votes in this county. Trump got over 225,000 votes in this county. A big percentage of people in North Carolina live in this area. Next, we're going to go to Mecklenburg County, where this is where the city of Charlotte is, a very big city, popular city in the state of North Carolina. It was won in 2012 by Obama by 22.4%. 2016, Clinton won it by 29.4%. And in 2020, Biden won it by 35.1%. That went up an additional 6% from 2016 to 2020. And in this one, we could see over 378,000 votes for Joe Biden in this county in 2020. Donald Trump got 179,000 votes. So these areas, yes, they're Democratic areas, and they will not be competitive on election night, but there's so many people concentrated in these areas. It's very important to mention because, as I showed you, the percentages bumps from 2016 to 2020 in a lot of these cases, like Mecklenburg, like Wake County, like Guilford County, like Forsyth County. This is why North Carolina got so incredibly close from 2016 to 2020. When 2016 was won by Trump by 3.7 and only won in 2020 by 1.3, a lot of the reason why was these bigger counties where the population is higher but the area is smaller. The margins of these counties increasing is what made the statewide overall numbers shrink and get smaller. So it was a smaller margin of victory for Trump. As what that means for 2024, it's very important to watch these counties and see what the margin of victory is in these counties. For instance, Joe Biden won Mecklenburg County by 35 points in 2020. If Kamala Harris is hypothetically running behind Biden and say she's at 31% margin of victory in Mecklenburg County, that could be a few thousand votes that help Trump more than he got in 2020, which would boost Trump's statewide total. Or the other way, say Mecklenburg, Harris is able to get up to 36 or 37%. That could be a few more thousand votes to help her case and maybe is potentially able to flip North Carolina. So the margins in these counties, especially the Democratic ones and the solid Republican ones, are very, very important. And the smaller counties that are the more competitive ones, yes, they're very important because who wins them matter, what the margins there are matter, but the margins especially matter in the very Democratic and very Republican areas where there's going to be large numbers of votes kind of like tallied up for both candidates. The margins really do make a difference between which party wins and which party loses when all the votes are counted. Now we're going to go to Durham County, which is right next door where Wake County is, kind of like northwest of it. Durham County in 2012 voted for Barack Obama by 52.8% margin of victory. 2016, it was 59.5% margin of victory, and in 2020 was 62.4%. This is following the same path as the other previous counties of the margins increasing and giving Biden more and more votes than what Clinton got in 2016 and even what Obama got in 2012. In Durham County alone, Joe Biden got over 140,000 votes. Donald Trump got over 32,000 votes. So definitely a lot of people in just this small concentrated area. Very, very important. Now we're going to go to New Hanover, which is on the northeastern part of the state, which I'll be showing again on my county's map video as well. In 2012, Mitt Romney won this county by 4.6%. 2016, Donald Trump won the county by 3.9%, and Joe Biden won it in 2020 by 2.1%. This is going to be one of the closer, back and forth counties to watch for on election night. This could be a potential sign of how things are going statewide. If Trump is able to flip this county back, that could be a sign maybe he's running closer to his 2016 numbers in the state than his 2020 numbers. And if this county gets even more blue, maybe that's a sign Kamala Harris is overperforming what Joe Biden did in 2020, and maybe she's in a good position in the state of North Carolina. As for the total votes from 2020, Joe Biden got about 66,000, Donald Trump got about 63,000, so a good-sized population when it comes to the county, and definitely one that is very important and worth watching on election night. Now we're going to look at Alamance County, where in 2012, Mitt Romney won it by 13.7%, 2016, Trump won it by 12.6%, and in 2020, Trump won it by 8.4%. So the trend from 12 to 16 was about a 1-point drop, but from 16 to 20, it was about a 4-point drop. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch in 2024. Does the county continue to trend more towards the Democratic side? And if it does, by how much? Or can Trump kind of stop that trend and maybe gain a few more points in 2024 in what should be a more favorable national environment for Trump than 2020 was? As for the votes in Alamance County in 2020, Trump got about 46,000 votes, Biden got about 38,000 votes, so definitely a smaller county compared to some of the first five that went over, but definitely an important one that could be very, very crucial in the margins when such a very close state like North Carolina. Now looking at Granville County, where in 2012, it was won by Barack Obama by 4.5 percentage points. 2016, it was won by Donald Trump by 2.5 percentage points. And in 2020, it was won by Donald Trump by 6.6 percentage points. So this is an example of a county that actually got redder from 2012 to 2016, and even more red from 2016 to 2020, going up about 4 points from 2016 to 2020 specifically. As for the vote numbers in 2020, Donald Trump got about 16,000 votes. Joe Biden got about 14,000 votes. So it definitely is a smaller county, but this is one of those very, very close ones to keep an eye on. Going now to Nash County, which is on a suburb of Wake County, where Raleigh is, Nash being a suburb. In 2012, it was won by Barack Obama by 1 point. 2016, Donald Trump was able to win it by just 0.2. But then get this, in 2020, Joe Biden was able to win it by, you guessed it, 0.2. So this is one of the closest counties in the state of North Carolina. This is certainly a very, very close one. And whoever wins this is certainly going to be feeling pretty good about how they're running in the state. If it's going Republican, that's a good sign Trump is doing well. If it's going Democrat, that means at very least Kamala Harris is in play in North Carolina the way Joe Biden was in 2020. As for the votes, it was 25,947 for Biden in 2020. Trump was 25,827, so just a separation of 120 votes in Nash County. Very, very close. Certainly one to watch for on election night 2024. Now to Wilson County, the last county I'll be going over. Of the 10 major counties I'm looking at, Wilson was a 7.5% win for Obama in 2012, a 5.6% win for Clinton in 2016, and then a 2.9% win for Biden in 2020. The trend in Wilson County seems to be getting more and more Republican. The question is, in 2024, will it continue to trend Republican, and by how much? Is it enough where the county could potentially flip? Of all these counties, this one in Nash County or in New Hanover perhaps are the two that are most likely to flip, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Wilson County, also a suburb of Wake, had about 20,000 votes or so for Biden and 19,000 votes or so for Trump. So again, a smaller county compared to some of the other ones, but still a good size amount of votes. So that is some of the key counties I'm watching for. Now we're going to go to the county's map of North Carolina itself, where right now in 2020, looking at the county's map, Donald Trump got 49.9% statewide, Joe Biden got 48.6% statewide. And before I go into the key ones I already went over, I do just want to point out one county, for instance, and go off a point that I was talking about earlier. So Union County, which is going to be right here, right outside of Mecklenburg County, right outside of Charlotte, this is a very Republican county that we expect to be very Republican county. But this one, Donald Trump got over 80,000 votes in 2020 in this county. And again, I can't go over every county because it would take forever, but there are a bunch of these counties all around North Carolina where this is going to be a solid Trump county. Trump's going to really pad his votes here, similar to how Mecklenburg is going to be a county where Harris is going to pad her votes there. So in North Carolina, there's going to be a lot of red counties and a lot of blue counties that are expected to go that way, but that doesn't mean the counties are not important. It means the margins of which victory in those counties are very important, because the vote totals are going to be different from 2020 to 2024. Voter turnout percentages always shift from election to election, but the margins are also very important to notice, because how the margins are going in a county like Union County could be a difference between Donald Trump winning or losing the state of North Carolina. Similarly, how Mecklenburg County, the margins are going, could be the difference between Kamala Harris winning or losing North Carolina. So I just want to point that out really quick as just a thing to remember. Just because a county is safe Democrat or safe Republican, that doesn't mean the margins of victory in those counties are not important, because they absolutely are. That being said, though, Forsyth County right here was 56.2 to 42.3 in 2020, a win for Joe Biden. Guilford County right next door was 60.8 to 37.7, a win for Joe Biden. Alamance County, which I did have to put the graphic down here for just the sake of making space in the video, was 53.5 for Trump, 45.1 for Biden, a win for Donald Trump. Right here in Granville County, it was 52.7 to 46.1. That is a win for Donald Trump. Now we're looking at Wake County, where it's a 62.3% to 35.8% win for Joe Biden. Nash County is 49.6 for Biden, 49.4 for Trump, very, very close. Wilson right below it, 51 to 48.1, a win for Biden. New Hanover, 50.2 to 48, a very, very close win as well for Biden over Trump. Durham, which is going to be right here, was 80.4 to 18, a win for Biden over Trump. And Mecklenburg County right down here, this is where Charlotte is, 66.7 to 31.6, a win for Biden. So as I mentioned, it was a 1.3% win for Donald Trump in 2020 in North Carolina. Definitely one of the closest elections we've seen in North Carolina, really, honestly, since maybe 2008 when Barack Obama won the state. 2012 was pretty close. 2016 was a little bit less close, but 2020 was very close, a 1.3% win. And North Carolina is certainly going to be a very close one again in 2024. We're going to have to wait and see what the numbers end up being, but I fully expect it to be a very close competitive state. Now looking at 2016, where Donald Trump got 49.8% of the vote statewide, so he only went up, 0.1% from 2016 to 2020. So the Republican supports remained pretty constant for Trump in this state across his last two elections. Clinton, however, got 46.2%, much lower than what Joe Biden got in 2020. And looking at Forsyth County, it was 53 to 42.6. That was a win for Clinton. Guilford County, 58 to 38.1. That was a win for Clinton as well. Mecklenburg County, we're going to go in reverse this time, with 62.3, 32.9. Alamance County, right here, 54.6 to 41.9. Durham County, 77.7 to 18.2, a win for Clinton. Wake County, 57.4 to 37.2, a win for Clinton. Granville County is right here. That is 49.7 to 47.2. That was a win for Donald Trump in that county. New Hanover down here was 49.5 to 45.6, a win for Trump in that county. Wilson County was 51.6 to 46, a win for Clinton. Nash County was actually a red county, 48.9 to 48.8. Very, very close, but Trump does win there. So as for Trump's numbers in 2016 to 2020, they've remained pretty much the same in terms of percentages across the state, but the county by counties are where you're going to find the differences. But 2016 was a big reason of Hillary Clinton really just not doing as well as Barack Obama or Joe Biden in terms of consolidating Democratic support, which led to more third-party vote, which I think is a big reason why she did not do as well in North Carolina as Biden or Obama did. Meanwhile, looking at 2012, where Mitt Romney, the Republican nominee, got 50.4% statewide, Barack Obama, the president at the time, got 48.4%, and in Forsyth County right here was 53 to 45.8 for Barack Obama. Guilford County was 57.7 to 41.3, a win for Obama. Mecklenburg County was 60.7 to 38.2, that was a win for Obama. Alamance County 56.3 to 42.6. That was a win for Romney. Durham County was 75.8 to 23, a win for Obama. Wake County was 54.9, 43.5, a win for Obama. Granville County, trying to find it right here, 51.8 to 47.2, so Obama actually won this county in 2012. New Hanover, 51.5 to 47, a win for Romney. Wilson County, 53.4 to 45.9, a win for Obama. And Nash County, 50.1 to 49.2, a very close win for Obama. In 2012, this was also worth noting that in 2008, Barack Obama narrowly won the state of North Carolina. Mitt Romney flipped the state from blue to red in 2012, and he won statewide by about 2 percentage points, flat margin, like flat 2 points. And from 2012 to 2016, then Trump was able to increase the margin of victory, but he did go down by 0.6% for his overall statewide total. In 2020, the margin of victory was even smaller in North Carolina because of the Democratic support getting more consolidated, Biden getting 0.2% more than Obama got in 2012, but Trump did gain 0.1% from 2016 to 2020. Looking at the political parties themselves in North Carolina and using the data to try and predict what the margins will be, in 2020, Donald Trump got 49.9%, 2016, Trump got 49.8%, and in 2012, Mitt Romney got 50.4%. That is an average vote across the last 3 elections of 50% on the dot. And taking this data, I conducted a range to find out what the high and low of the margins of outcomes could be for Donald Trump in 2024 based on the highest number, which is 50.4%, and the lowest number, 49.8%. I found a difference of 0.6% between those, and I took that 0.6% and added it to 50.4, subtracted it to 49.8, and barring a polling miss on election night, which I don't think there will be that much of a massive one in North Carolina, considering how close it is. On the low end, Republicans would get about 49.2% in North Carolina. On the high end, Republicans would get about 51%. So I am pretty confident that on election night, Trump's numbers will be somewhere between 49.2 and 51 in North Carolina. On the Democratic side, pretty much the same process. In 2020, it was 48.6% for Biden, 2016, 46.2% for Clinton, and 2012, 48.4% for Obama. An average vote percentage across the last 3 elections of 47.3%. Once again, taking the highest number, which was 48.6, minus the lowest number, 46.2, I got a difference of 2.4%, and again used that to get a range on the low end of 43.8% and on the high end of 51%. So it's very interesting. Both the Democrats and Republicans on the high end get 51% exactly. However, on the low end, the Republicans have a little bit higher floor than the Democrats do based on the last 3 elections. So that's very, very interesting. What it says to me is it's certainly a very close race where the upsides are basically the same, that Republicans start out with a slight advantage due to the lower floor of the Democrats, but the ceilings are basically the same. So this is a very, very close state that either party can win realistically. Looking at some of the factors I've gone over in this video, the state polling data right now, with Trump up very, very narrowly, it does suggest that Trump is leading, seeing as every single forecaster does have Trump leading in the polls. The head-to-head national polling data certainly benefits Donald Trump, especially if Election Day is only a 0.9% popular vote win for Kamala Harris. That absolutely benefits Donald Trump, where Joe Biden got 3.9% in 2020 popular vote win, and that was still in a very, very close election. Taking 3 points away from that is only going to hurt Harris's chances of winning a very important state like North Carolina. The polling momentum, though, it's an interesting one because I went back and forth with this one, but in the last few weeks, the numbers have gotten a little bit closer in North Carolina, enough where I would very narrowly say Harris has a little bit of polling momentum in North Carolina, but not really like as significant as some other toss-up states, where some other states have broken very hard for Trump in the last few days. North Carolina really hasn't done so. It's maybe gone like down 0.1% for Harris, so I gave it to Harris, but it's really not by a massive margin on that factor. The polling error advantage from earlier in the video where I showed you that the Democrats were overestimated by 1.95% between 2016 and 2020, 0.96 between 2012 and 2020. This means that Donald Trump would be the one who benefits from that, as if the polls are over benefiting the Democrats or over valuing the Democratic numbers, that would help Trump on election night. For the forecasters' ratings, they all have the races a toss-up, so no one will get a benefit from that. North Carolina is certainly going to be a very close state, a pure toss-up. Since the 2012 election history, I mean, that's going to be won by Donald Trump The Republican and Trump being in two of the elections won North Carolina both times. Mitt Romney won it once. So in terms of which party wins, Trump certainly gets the advantage there. The forecasting market, Trump certainly gets an advantage as well from there, as I showed you with Polymarket. The Cook PVI advantage, North Carolina, I believe, is in between 2 and 5% on the Republican side. So that certainly is a benefit for the Republicans, which would benefit Trump. As from the trends from 2012 advantage, I went back with this one as well because, North Carolina has been a very close state in every single election since 2012. It was a 2-point win in 2012, 3.7 in 2016, and 1.3 in 2020. And yes, the Republican won it every single time, but the numbers have also gotten smaller, where 2012, it got larger in 2016, but then the smallest has been in 2020. So I think the trends from the 2012 advantage, I very nearly gave to Harris because the numbers from 2012 did technically get smaller in 2020, but larger in 2016. So that one you could really make an argument for Trump or Harris, but I gave it to Harris in that 2020 was smaller than what 2012's was. But if you want to fight me on that one, I would not have a hard time hearing either side on that one. But the overall advantage, based on the factors I've gone over in this video, is 6-2 in favor of Donald Trump. So looking at my prediction for the state of North Carolina in the 2024 presidential election, first things first, I do have Donald Trump winning the state of North Carolina, so that's the first prediction. The second prediction is the numbers in which I have doing so. I have Donald Trump getting about 50.3% of the vote, Kamala Harris getting 47.5%. I don't have Donald Trump getting over Mitt Romney's 50.4% in 2012. I think North Carolina is honestly more competitive even than it was in 2012, so I don't think it's going to go over that. However, I don't think Kamala Harris will be able to do as well as Joe Biden did in 2020, where Biden got 48.6%. Harris getting only 47.5% is in large part due to the national vote not being as Democratic friendly as 2020 was, and potentially, according to the polls right now, even as friendly as 2016 was. So it is reasonable that if the 2024 election is really 0.9%, then there's a possibility that Harris may lose North Carolina by even less than what I'm predicting in this video. However, the national vote only being 0.9% is something that sounds so low on the Democratic side, I almost have a hard time believing it. So I think I'm going on the side that the national vote will be a little bit higher than 0.9, somewhere between 1 and 2 to 2.5 is where I think it could be. But if it is 0.9, Harris may lose this by even worse than what this is. I have a margin of victory in this race of 2.5%, almost double from what Trump had in 2020 against Joe Biden. So with the state of North Carolina now added to the 2024 electoral map, I have Donald Trump at 256 electoral votes, Kamala Harris at 123 through all the states I have completed so far in my deep dive series. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I really hope you stay tuned for my next one, which will be the state just north of North Carolina, the state of Virginia. That should be a very, very interesting one as well, so I hope you please stay tuned for that. In the meantime, before I go, please enjoy the sneak peek at my full 2024 election night prediction. It is 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, and we have some more poll closings to tell you about, including the all-important battleground state of North Carolina. Also, states with polls closing in this hour are the states of Ohio and West Virginia. Let's take you right into what projections we can make at this time. In the state of North Carolina and its 16 electoral votes, we are categorizing that state as too close to call. Leading up until Election Day, the polling in North Carolina has been extremely close, well under the margin of error, and is expected to be very close tonight as well. Donald Trump won the state in 2020 by 1.3% of the vote, and in 2016 by 3.7% of the vote. Certainly one of the top battleground states to watch for tonight. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button. And make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.